I would like to thank everyone today for joining us here for our community of practice with Gateway Core Success. If this is your first time here joining us, thank you. We would like to extend a warm welcome to our guest today as we're going to talk about academic support with our guest presenter being Kanya Allen. With that being said, I will go ahead and kick it off to her. But before I do that, I'm going to introduce to you all this afternoon our newest senior fellow joining our strategy, Ms. Fallon. If you'd like to come off you and introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, everybody. My name is Fallon Willoughby. I'm an assistant fixing to be associate in July professor at SkyCTC. I also adjunct for WKU, and I am involved in lots of things around the community involving books. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Fallon, for that introduction. We are super excited to have you be a part of this team leading statewide things and all things Gateway Core Success. And without further ado, I'll go ahead and kick it to our guest presenter for the next hour, Ms. Kanya Allen.
Thank you, Ashley. Can you all hear me okay? Thumbs up. You can hear me? Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. It's such a pleasure for me to be here with you all. I'm excited to be able to share with you guys this afternoon. Thank you all for being here on our community of practice call. Welcome again. To reiterate what Ashley said, we're so glad that you all are able to join us today. I'm going to share my screen or attempt to. I am not the best with Zoom, so if you guys give me just a second, I'll get started. And let's see. You guys see my screen so far? Yes, okay. Hell, nope. I'm getting slideshow up. All right. Still see? Okay.
We are looking at the presenters.
Presenter. Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Now, we're good, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Again, welcome. Our topic of the month is academic support. Before I do that, let me introduce myself again. I'm Kanya Allen. I am the Director of Academic Success at Hopkinsville Community College. My area covers career and transfer services, tutoring, success coaching, FYE, first year experience, discipline coordinating, and I also am the QEP director. So I wear lots of hats at the college. I'm not sure that I am actually doing all of those well, wearing all the hats well, but I'm doing my best. So I've been at the college for 19 years, and my background is in career services, transfer, supporting students in that manner. Today, we'll talk about different ways and different types of academic support strategies you'll be able to share in a breakout session with your colleagues, and then report back to us some ways that you all are working on academic support strategies at your institutions. I know we all are, but it's really nice and interesting to hear what other folks are doing, and hopefully get some ideas from some of your colleagues about ways that we can always support our students as far as their Gateway Core Success participation. We'll have a data highlight. I'll share a little bit about our quality enhancement plan, which is heavily invested in tutoring here at our campus, and share with you some data that we found regarding tutoring. And then we'll go into some upcoming meeting dates and topics and some announcements and final thoughts. Anytime that you have a question or anything that you'd like to say, please feel free to do so in the chat or stop me at any time. Again, the topic of the month, academic support strategies. If you could do me a favor in the chat, what academic supports did you find helpful in college, if any? Just throw out some words in the chat and just share with us some of the things that you found helpful while you were in school. It'll take a few minutes to do that. Open the chat so I can see. Great, tutoring, library resources, yes. Somebody said we didn't have any when I was in college. I kind of feel the same way. We did have some, but I don't know if I was aware of them or didn't make myself aware of them. So library staff, library, yes. SI, supplemental instruction, very good. Student Resource Center, awesome. Personal interest of professors, so important. So important. My instructors, definitely, yes. Fallon was a tutor. Awesome. Seminars. Seminars to help me with study skills, writing labs. Amazing. And clubs, yes. I think sometimes we forget how important student engagement is outside of the classroom. Some of the most important things I learned in college sometimes happen outside the classroom. So great. Yes, Fallon clubs. Good, good, good. Thank you. Thank you. I only knew about the library, right? There may have been tutoring, but I'm old. Me too, Sandra. I'm old. I'm sure there was tutoring there, but I was the type of student that I didn't ask the question, or I was afraid to appear like I didn't know what was going on. So I didn't seek out the help. And we'll talk about that in my presentation a little bit down the road about how important it is to remove that stigma of asking for assistance. Very good. Thank you all so much. Awesome. Very good for the engagement. Now, we all know what academic support is, but it is good to have a quote unquote formal definition. And in my research, I found this definition of academic support. Academic support refers to the resources, strategies, and services provided to help students succeed in their educational journey. It includes both formal and informal assistance aimed at improving academic skills, understanding course content, and achieving educational goals. And some examples of that would be tutoring services. We mentioned that a lot. Different types of tutoring, professional, peer tutoring. I don't know if any of you all at your institutions have a peer tutoring model. That's something we're looking forward to here at the college, working on at HCC. Faculty tutors, online platforms, early alert and intervention initiatives. I know with KCTCS, we use Starfish. There may be some other things that we'll be able to share in the discussion breakout sessions about what early alert initiatives you may use in your institution. Learning centers like tutoring centers and writing centers and math centers, those types of environments. First year experience courses, programs, library services. That was mentioned a lot in our chat. Someone mentioned supplemental instruction as well. So they're all different types of tutoring, or excuse me, academic support strategies. And some truths that I found in my research about academic support is not just about mastering skills, but it's about forming those connections and relationships. We had a question at one of our Gateway Course Success work group meetings about what skills that we bring to the table. And one of the things that I really feel like is one of my strengths is relationship building. And part of our academic support is making sure students know that we're there for them. And some of these services that we provide allow us to do that. So engaging, making sure students know that they are supported in whatever way that we can provide. Students who feel supported, seen, and valued are more likely to succeed. And support leads to greater self-efficacy for our students. That's what we all want, for them to be successful in whatever success looks like for them. So we want them to gather the skills that they need to pursue whatever goal it is they have for themselves. Where do we provide this academic support? Pretty self-explanatory, but of course the classroom is the number one place that we provide the support. And our instructors, those of you who mentioned your instructors being the supported environment that you needed, the supportive person that you needed while you were in college. The classroom is number one. Learning centers, as I mentioned earlier, these online virtual platforms. We utilize tutor.com and BrainFuse, which are those 24-hour, 365, 7 days a week types of platforms that students can use to get support. We'll talk in a second about making support flexible and available to our students. So online and virtual options, especially since COVID, have become pretty commonplace. And workshops. Someone mentioned that they took some workshops on time management and study skills. these are the types of places we provide academic support. And just like my list of different types of support, this list is not exhaustive either. There are all types of places. I may see a student out at the grill and we're sitting down and we're chatting and having lunch, and we're providing support in that way as well. So these are just some examples of ways that in places where we provide support. Why? Of course, student success is the number one why. That's why we do what we do. That's why we get paid the big bucks, right? To do what we do every day to help our students. That's the why. Without proactive academic support, some students will struggle in their gateway courses, and some students may not persist, which is a retention issue. And when they don't persist, they take their trust, their tuition dollars, and most importantly, their potential with them. So when they leave without being successful, whatever success looks like for them, then all of those things happen. So without academic support, sometimes students can again leave. It involves declining retention, financial toll, and damage to our institutions. 30% of first-year undergraduate students do not return for their second year. Found that pretty eye-opening. And students who leave face long-term setbacks, of course, such as debt, increased debt, wasted time. They may feel like they wasted their time, and feelings of defeat. So we want to do all that we can to support them so they do not have to face those long-term impacts of or detrimental long-term impacts. What is the impact of academic support? Whereas we were just mentioning declining retention rates. If we provide the support to our students, hopefully we'll see higher retention rates. They'll stay on and complete their course of study with us. We'll close some of those completion gaps and improve academic outcomes, especially in gateway courses, and strengthen belonging. Students who feel supported feel a sense of belonging, and that is so important when it comes to retention and keeping our students on campus. So fostering meaningful relationships and connections with faculty, peers, student success personnel, all of that is part of academic support. What challenges do we face when we are providing academic support? I mentioned earlier, when I was in school, I was one of those students that I always felt like I had to get the A, and I always stressed myself out about it. And I didn't ask for help when I needed it because I didn't want anyone to think I was stupid or I didn't need to be there. I already felt like I probably shouldn't be there for lots of different reasons. So there's a stigma sometimes students have of asking for help. Students also have competing priorities. They have families. They have jobs, they have life issues that kind of get in the way sometimes of their academic success. And awareness. I saw a statistic, and I'll read it. A September 2024 study by Titan Partners found just over 1/3, which is 34%, of college students are aware that their college or university provides tutoring for academic support, and only 13% engage with those types of services. So all of us have some type of academic support strategies taking place on our campus. How aware are our students, and how do we make them aware of those services? That's the key, and that's what we'll discuss in our breakout sessions. Hopefully some ways you can share with me and with everyone here. How do you make those services available and aware to the students? So some ways to overcome these challenges: promote aggressively. Not that we didn't have tutoring before our QEP, which I'll get to in a second, our quality enhancement plan, but we wanted to elevate tutoring on our campus. We did have these services, but students weren't utilizing them. We found that they weren't at convenient hours, weren't convenient for students, not easily accessible for students. So promoting these things, making those changes, first of all, and make it student friendly, make tutoring and our academic support student friendly, but we also want to promote them aggressively. Another way you can overcome challenges in employing early alert strategies, things like Starfish. I don't know what you use at your school, but Starfish is an early alert system that we use here in KCTCS. Different schools use it differently, but it's a huge part of us at HCC, our quality enhancement plan. where we reach out to students early and often. And we have to have faculty buy-in to be able to do that, because instructors are the first line of defense as far as student success and academic support. So when our instructors see that students are struggling, then we kind of do a wraparound, and there's a mistake in my, it should say alert, I'm sorry. Actually, I didn't catch that, I apologize. But early alert strategies is what it should say. So ways that we can reach students early and often, and to provide information and awareness about our academic support interventions. Giving faculty and advisors the tools they need to be able to intervene, whatever that means for your school or your institution. Again, through us, it's with our Starfish and being able to reach out that way. Referrals, flags, raising concerns, however that works for you. Ensure support is accessible and flexible, meeting students where they are. It's not always easy to do, but we have to do a better job of doing so. That's why we're now providing different online options for our tutoring sessions. There's a product called BrainFuse. I'm sure if you all are familiar with it, but we've been utilizing it at the college for a while. And it offers 24/7, 365 tutoring in lots of subjects that we can't physically provide on-campus tutoring for. We just don't have the students, the peer mentors, the manpower, the money to be able to provide those services. So we're utilizing BrainFuse, and there's a new BrainFuse component called BrainFuse Nursing. We found through our QEP, Quality Enhancement Plan, that our nursing students were having some challenges, and we didn't have a nursing tutoring available. BrainFuse has a new nursing tutoring platform where students are able to actually sit down virtually with nursing faculty with lots of experience in education and work through some of those things that we didn't have the capacity to be able to help them with on campus. Our instructors are working super hard to make sure the nursing students get through their program, and it's hard to provide that additional service at 7 o'clock at night, where with BrainFuse Nursing, we have students who can actually log on and sit down and work with a experienced nursing instructor. So that's really awesome. We're excited about that. And also, you need to monitor your outcomes and adapt as necessary. As I said earlier, with our tutoring program, we had tutoring for years, but we had to adapt it to be able to make sure that our students were able to access it, and it was flexible and what the students needed. So just because you provide a service, if it's not working, then let's look and see what we can do to change it and make it so where it's convenient for everyone and that folks could actually access it and utilize those services. I see some things going on in the chat. I should probably be looking at that. So if there's anything anybody wants to share, please do so. HCC Cares. We, at the college where I work, just like all of anyone who's in a SACS, COC accredited school, knows about a quality enhancement plan and knows the purpose. It was quite a daunting challenge and task for us to come up with our quality enhancement plan, but we wanted to look at our campus and see overall, what can we do to help students be successful? And we focused on tutoring and coaching. HCC Cares employs 2 strategies to improve student retention and persistence. The first strategy is to optimize usage of Starfish early alert software. And then the second strategy is what I'll get to today, is talking a little bit about tutoring services and success coaching for all of our students with an intense focus on gateway course success. So we have 3 main goals. The first goal is early alert. The second goal is what we'll focus on for just a few minutes, and that's our goal 2, increase student success and persistence in the gateway courses of English and math. That we know there are lots of gateway courses, but we picked English and math because that's where we saw that our students were having the most trouble with persisting and being successful. So we have some student success outcomes there. And the first one, students enrolled in gateway English or math courses who engage in tutoring or coaching services will receive a C or better in these courses. Our quality enhancement plan began in 2022. So we're into our 3rd year of our plan. And we have found that for the first 2 years of our plan, students in Math 150 and English 101 who participated in tutoring, some type of tutoring on campus, and normally it was in our tutoring center with our in-person tutors, had higher success rates and higher pass rates than those students who did not participate in tutoring. So you notice for Math 150, for the first year, the success and pass rates there, not huge differences, but differences. We're looking at any percentage increase we are proud of. So second year Math 150 tutoring and non-tutoring groups see some significant difference there. So we're really proud of the fact that our students who are utilizing the services, first of all, we had to make them aware of the services, make sure that they are, again, at times and in ways that they can access them, but that our students are using the services and they are being successful. So we haven't, of course, received the data for this year. We're still working through this academic year. So hopefully this trend will continue through our 5-year QEP, but we're really proud of the success that we've had so far with students being able to use our tutoring services. You notice I focus quite a bit on tutoring in this presentation, but again, there are lots of academic supports that our institutions utilize. I just wanted to highlight the tutoring part because that's a success for us as far as our QEP. QEP has been a challenge, but it's been a great challenge, and we're working towards hopefully continued success when it comes to our tutoring programs. Now we get to talk to each other. I'm done blabbing and sharing about what we do. Now we get to learn about what you all do. So in our breakout sessions, there are 3 questions that I want you all to discuss, and they're pretty basic, simple questions. What academic support strategies do you have at your institution? What is working well with your academic support strategies? What challenges are you facing regarding academic support strategies? So what do you have? What's going well? And what challenges? And hopefully in your groups, you can learn from each other, share some great things that are working well, and then also share some challenges and maybe get some feedback from those in the group on how you can maybe overcome some of those challenges. Questions? Let me go back, sorry. I'll stop sharing now for just a second, or I could leave my questions up. Ashley, did we break out, or does Dan break us out, or how will we? We have about
I'll go ahead and
35
open
minutes in our sessions.
I'll go ahead and open you up right now.
Okay, that'll be great. Thank you. And I'll be looking at the chat to see what we could share. Good luck. Have fun, everyone. In the breakout rooms. Before I asked for volunteers to share with us, there was some talk in the chat, some good discussion questions and some things that I addressed. So if you had a question, hopefully I was able to address it in the chat. There were some of you who were talking about BrainFuse. If you're unfamiliar and you have some questions, please reach out to me. I can put my email in the chat. We just started the nursing component, and I would encourage anyone who's needing maybe that extra support there to check that out. So I'll put my contact info in the chat there. But again, I answered some of the questions and some of the concerns. Some really good points were brought up in the chat, so I appreciate it. Now I'll ask for, we probably don't have time for everybody to present out, but if there was someone that would like to volunteer to tell us what you all discussed in your rooms, I would appreciate that.
Well, I can go ahead and go if we want, Kanya.
Yeah, Kasha, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, so we had a nice mix of some university folks and some community college folks. So I always like when you can hear the different perspectives coming in. So regarding success supports, tutoring obviously is one of the big ones. Most of us have some form of early alert, even if it is just once a semester, everybody does something, but has some form of awareness call campaign. Some interesting things that came up were engagement and trying to get students to engage. So one of the institutions actually has their tutoring center go out to the classrooms just to get that face-to-face engagement and introduction, and that seems to be working really well. So I really like the class visits. A lot of people are still trying to work with, supplemental instruction, embedded learner assistance, peer mentoring, working with that peer level support and engagement. And then others have the full on, professional support staff, academic success coach, like they've actually got that kind of resource going. But the biggest challenges are connecting, at least at the community college level, connecting our students with these resources. And it seems another challenge is actually finding people to support these resources in the sense of some of us are having troubles finding tutors. We're not getting students to, uh, apply to be a tutor anymore. So we're losing some of that peer group. Um, and the ones we can get then are overworked. But so engagement on both ends, engagement on getting the students connected to the services, as well as getting students to participate, like be that mentor, be that tutor, actually working for the institution in these services. So that's my recap. If somebody from that group wants to chime in on another particular aspect, feel free.
Very good. Thank you. I find the peer mentoring and peer tutoring struggle is something that we're dealing with as well. So good to know I'm not the only one. So good stuff. Anyone else want to share?
I can go ahead and share, Kanya.
Okay, thanks, John.
In complete opposite of Kasha's group, we had no diversity. I was actually in the middle of a Hazard Community and Technical College English staff meeting, which was a fun time. All three of the other people in the group were from Hazard and were faculty. So it was a good conversation though. And I think, some of the feedback that we had was really about, a lot of the Hazard students are online. And I think a lot of our KCTCS folks feel that same situation as well. And the challenge for some of them were, what they're hearing from students is, so much is going on in their life. They're working, they have family responsibilities, family issues, a lot of natural disasters that are going on right now. And it's kind of like, how do we expect students to take advantage of these additional academic supports and resources if they're already struggling to have the time available to put towards the class itself? So, and that's in addition to just, making the connections with online students to make sure they're aware of these resources when they're doing their own thing. So there are some challenges there. We also had a conversation about the importance of onboarding. So when you do have that chance to connect with students when they're starting or when they're enrolling in their courses, to make sure, we're having conversations about time management, making sure there's not too much on the plate, understanding how online courses work, understanding the resources that are available, making sure that those are touch points in that onboarding process. And there was also just, some truth spoken by some of the faculty about how, their workloads prevent them from having access to PD. And so, these instructors now are teaching so many of their courses online. And, the ones that were in our group have been instructors for many years now. And it's such a sea change for them from what they've been doing with in-person classes, making sure that they have the time and the availability to have, strong PD or, online course enrollment or online course development, making sure the engagement's there, and giving them that time and the availability to do so was proving to be a challenge. So that was just a few things that I took notes of from our conversation.
Thank you. PDs. I didn't even think about that. Professional development is so important, not just for our instructors, but for our tutors as well. So that's a good point. Great. Well, thank you all for volunteering and for sharing out. I see Fallon wrote in our chat what her group discussed. Ashley, you want to move on to, you think we're ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm happy
Okay,
to
all
and
right. Well,
appreciate all
thank
the good feedback.
before we move on, thank you all so much for engaging. It was my pleasure to share with you today. I learned a lot reading the chat and engaging with you guys, so I really appreciate it. And I'll turn it over now to Ashley to, if I can get the slide to go correctly. Ashley, you knew I was gonna do this. Have this
It's
problem.
to- it's totally fine.
Oh gosh. Okay, give me just a second. Stop sharing and then I'll share again.
Well, while she's working that out, I don't mind to also talk freely too, until the
Perfect.
slide comes back up.
Okay.
But just wanted to thank everyone again for joining us here with this Gateway Core Success Community of Practice. I had mentioned in the chat earlier that for this academic year, Ms. Kanya has closed us out with the topic of the academic support. So I thank you guys for joining us for this academic year, and hopefully there was a community of practice that resonated with you, if not all of them, and that you have been able to take something away back to your institutions and continue the good work of initiatives that help support student success. It's in presentation mode, but that's okay. As it relates to Gateway Core Success, the strategy and the overview, just to give a quick backstory in these last few moments that we have together, that we have started Gateway Core Success back in January 24. This strategy was developed with the Student Success Collaborative. And we kind of operate with three main buckets in mind. First being around student needs, second being around communication and collaboration, and the third being trying to remove barriers to create equitable access in the name of student success and gateway courses. So as we continue the good work in this strategy of gateway course success, we want to ensure that your voices are still being heard to help us with this great work. If Kanya, you go to the next slide, you will see our priorities and recommendations as we have labeled them and worked them out. We've kind of spent the first few years working on building our community of practices and also trying to develop partnerships. And continuing on the good track of now looking at the data. One of the initiatives that we hope to continue over the summer and through the fall is seeing what the data shows us and how we continue to make impact there. And we'll kind of transition this strategy to start to look at a new, fresh start of the next line of the initiatives that we want to go through. So this chart just kind of gives an overview of how we plan to tackle the recommendations that were laid upon us to help implement. And if any time as you look at this and review this footage, you have an idea, would like to share of how we can do this from a statewide collaborative standpoint, we are more than welcome to that feedback. And if you, and here's just our summary and review of all the community of practices that we had. We've covered a wide range of topics and hopefully feedback that we have gotten from you to carry us forward to continue to provide great topics. I know Kasha just dropped in the chat a feedback form that allows you to give us anything topic wise or feedback wise of how you would like to spend this time with us in the future. Although this is our last one, we will spend some time as a strategy group to continue to enhance this time that we have with you. So please drop any feedback that you have, and we would love to carry that with us in the next implement of the chapter of this next academic year. And I think, yeah, the QR code there if you also want to use your smartphone, but the link again is also in the chat. And last but certainly not least, to reiterate some of our upcoming initiatives that we will be working on over the summer and this fall, as we will continue to get our data dashboard for the collaborative as it relates to gateway courses up, starting that initiative sometime this month, and it will carry us all summer through the fall. So if you're interested in that project, please again, reach out to anyone on the team and myself, and we'd be happy to update you on those initiatives. And then also starting over the summer, speaking of the professional development piece that was spoke on the last few moments, is we hope to have a partnership with adult education in the Council of Post-Secondary Education with doing meaningful faculty professional development, with emphasis of those who are teaching adult educators and also those in gateway courses. Not that it's limited to either one of those groups, but we are happy to expand that upon anybody faculty wise across the state in large sections and who could benefit from this. And we hope to have those details out here shortly about how a faculty can participate. In essence, we hope to partnership with a vendor around faculty mindset and giving them great tools that will help in the name of student success as it relates to their courses. So be on the lookout for that as well. And we will continue to strategize and reprioritize things that we hear you guys say within the community of practice that you want to know more about. And if you'll go to the next slide. No worries. And these are just all good ways as it relates to collaborative to continue to stay in the know about how we share information through the impact exchange and through, again, not only our community of practices, but we have about 5 other strategies within the collaborative. So please feel free to hop in and out of all the community of practices and share the good knowledge. But in this presentation and hyperlinked, we can share this presentation with a follow-up email, which I will probably send out within the next few days, of all the data and all the databases in which we use to help gather and continue to move the work forward. And those links can be found there. But I would like to, in the words of Kanya, follow up with thank you for joining us today. Again, please offer any feedback as we move forward. And we hope that although we're taking a small little break within these community practices, you can continue to reach out to us and to help us plan moving forward. We want to welcome you back here in no time because, as you know, summer break will go by within a blink of an eye. And before you know it, it'll be August and orientations will have come and gone, and we will be continuing to do the good work. So just thank you again for joining us for this academic year, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.